Thank you for joining us tonight. The billionaire playboy, Charles Mason. How are you, man?
I'd be doing much better if you refer to me as my new name, which is the root of all evil, Charles Mason. I no longer go by the billionaire playboy. And if you did your homework, you would have known.
Wow.
Again, because I did actually was going to call you that as well, but I thought I'd go with the billionaire playboy. Let us start again, ladies and gentlemen. The roots of all evil, Mr. Charles Mason.
I think it's a much more fitting name for you, Charles. After doing our research, I found that it's kind of an apt name for you.
Yeah, I think it fits me much better than just letting you know my wealth, because that's pretty well known by now.
Everyone knows at this point, right? Yeah. Everyone knows you inherited a lot of money. You're from a very wealthy family. That's good. Everyone likes that for you, I'm sure. But not everyone knows that you're actually one of the most sadistic people in synergy wrestling.
Yeah, well, they're starting to find out pretty quickly, I think.
Well, I mean, let's start with synergy, because Ellis Taylor found out pretty nicely, didn't he? We were watching a bit of that last night, catching up. Ellis Taylor certainly knows who you are now.
Yeah, he does. You know, Ellis Taylor was actually the one I would say, we have a lot of bad blood between us, but I think I owe a little bit of thanks to that Hellboy Ellis Taylor. I would say he's the one who kind of brought this out of me. You know, I've never been in the ring with someone as poor as he is. He comes from a group that they're proud to announce themselves as young, dumb, and broke. And I think as soon as I stepped through those ropes with him, I was filled with hatred, with disdain, with disgust for him. And I think if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would have, if this would have come out of me, if this would have been unleashed.
Because I'm guessing you see young, dumb, and broke as the absolute opposite to who you are, right?
100%, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You had to. I'm presuming you had to lower yourself, didn't you, to his level. But dude, we loved it. I mean, you are pure evil. We loved every bit of it, man.
But, continue.
No, I was going to say loved every bit of it. But let us get to know a bit about you as well. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were trained by one hell of a talent, Amazing Red, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I was trained by, I think, some that we can probably agree is probably the greatest cruiserweight of my generation, and someone who doesn't get enough credit for what he's contributed to this business. When I decided I wanted to pursue a career in wrestling, I can do anything I want. I don't need money. I don't need to work. So this isn't a job for me. This is strictly for pleasure. And when I decided that I needed to find someone to train me, I sought out the best that there was, and that was Amazing Red.
Yeah, very underrated. Like you said, a lot of people don't give him the credit that he deserves. But when you do hear people mention him, it's nothing but high praise. Like you said, probably one of the best cruiserweights of our generation. I mean, what did you actually learn then from Amazing Red? How valuable was it for you?
I think everything that you see from me is what I learned from him. Aside from this sadistic drive that I have, that is all me. That's something I was born with. That's something I will always have with me. But as far as what you see in the ring, the way I'm able to conduct myself in there and handle myself, and between those ropes, I don't believe that there's anybody who can compare to me, and it's because I come from where I come from, and I'm trained by Amazing Red. And there's still so much that I've yet to reveal.
Well, that was my next question. You said that this new side of you is nothing to do with Amazing Red. That's been there the whole time. But we're just starting to see this root of all evil, the new you. But you, like you said, it's been there the whole time. What can we expect in the future from this new side of you? How much more violent is it going to get? And how much more sadistic is it going to get?
I think it's going to be as violent and as sadistic as it needs to be. There's nothing that brings me more joy. I've said it before, it's euphoric, it's orgasmic. The feeling of sheer dominance, to know that you have something's life in your hand. And I say something because I don't count you people as peers. You're not human beings, you're animals. A long time ago, we separated ourselves from the beast of the world, and we evolve as human beings, and that's what's happening now, where the 1% are a step above you. So you are not equals to me. So every time I go hunting for an animal like you, it's there's no pleasure like it.
So you're some kind of game hunter then. We're just a trophy for you.
I wouldn't say that I'm a game hunter, but there is another notch on my belt every time I choke someone out. Every time I feel your life slip away, I add that to me. I take it with me wherever I go. When I choked out Ellis Taylor, I took that with me. When I choked out TJ Crawford, I took that with me. You know, even though that match did not end the way it was supposed to, I felt his life slip away. I heard him tap out, and that was beautiful.
Look, I've got to ask you, if you're saying that you can choke out anybody at Synergy, you can feel that life slip away from anyone at Synergy. Is there anyone that you think you couldn't do that to? Or
that I could not do that to?
Could not do that to? Is there anyone who's not on that list that you don't feel, that someone that you feel is equal to you?
Is that a serious question?
It's a serious question. Is there anyone at Synergy who's on your level?
There's not a single person on that roster that's on my level. The only person that I can think of that I may have a hard time choking out is Eric Corvus, because of his obesity. It's hard for me to find his neck, but I already did so last time we were in our I think a little three-way together. But that's the only one I probably struggle with, because it's just so hard to find when people are that big and that obese and take such less care for themselves. It's kind of hard to find their neck. You understand? They're covered by those triple chins they have.
Well, I've got to ask you then, speaking of Synergy then, of course. I mean, is Jordan Oliver on your list then? Is that the guy you're going for next?
Is he the champion?
He certainly is.
Right. You have a poor man with gold around his waist. A poor man with something that he's not used to having, nor he shouldn't have. When you have two of some of the most disgusting people on the roster fighting for the championship, one of them has to win. That's between Brandon Kirk and Jordan Oliver. And Jordan Oliver came away with that. But, you know, I see Synergy as a promotion that deserves a lot more. That they're on the rise, right? And when you're on the rise and you want to make a kind of a name for yourself and build your brand, you need someone to be the face of your company. And Colin West does not like what I do, but he knows I'm good at it. He knows I'm great at it. And
that's
deep
what
down,
he told us.
He knows. Yeah. And deep down, I know he knows I'm better than Jordan Oliver.
Well, I'm going to be honest, dude. I mean, you look the part. You were always in a suit and tie. I mean, your money, man. Your money. I mean, if anyone is going to carry that company, it's going to be you, right?
100%.
So we've got to ask you, because we have actually become quite friendly with Colin over the last couple of months. Personal feelings aside, how well do you think he is doing at getting the name of Synergy out there?
Personal feelings aside, I think he's doing a decent job. I think he can do much better. Like I said in my last response, that's the first step, right? It's putting me at the front of your company. It's putting me on every poster, putting me up there as much as you can so people can come in. All right? Women don't want to see Jordan Oliver as the champion. They will pay to see me. So that's an entirely new demographic that he can, present to, and I can help him with that. But I think he's doing a pretty decent job. Synergy a couple of years ago was a company that no one really talked about or knew about. Then last year they started to kind of dip their toe. And I think in 2020 they knocked it out the park. Just coincidentally is when I came in 2020, by the way. So
when we spoke to Colin,
I think there's a correlation there.
He did say he did say he knows you're talented, but it came across more of he's scared of what you're capable of. And that's kind of tying in with what you're saying. I don't even, honestly, want my real opinion, I don't think you know what you're capable of. And that kind of scares me as a fan.
I understand that, and it doesn't scare me. It excites me. But I agree that I also don't know what I'm capable of. As I said, when I first met Ellis Taylor, I didn't anticipate the match ending the way it did. I didn't anticipate me holding on to his throat as long as I did. And every time I'm out there, something new comes out of me. And I am looking forward to this ride. I'm enjoying the thrill, and we'll see what happens next.
Well, like I said, dude, you look the part, man. I mean, I've got to be honest, those suits probably cost more than I make in a year, right?
Most likely.
I thought so. You do look the part, but we mentioned violence as well. I know another company you have competed for is Violence and Suffering. We have also had the pleasure of speaking to Isaac. What was that like working there? Because I know Isaac's more of a film director as well. So, I mean, is there a possibility of him making you look even more wonderful as you already are?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't worked with Violence and Suffering since I think maybe last December. We had a tribute show for a friend of mine who sadly passed away. And a bunch of me and some of other trainees, we got together and we put on a pretty great match that I think he looked down and was really proud of. But I haven't been with them in a little bit, and I know that they're another company who right now is on the rise, and they're rebranding themselves. Violence and Suffering has been around for a little bit, but now they're starting to make an impact. And I've known Isaac for a little bit. He used to do cinematography at House of Glory, and then they parted ways, and now he's building his own brand, which is how it should be.
Yeah.
You know, he's a bright kid, and he has a lot that he can add to this business, and I think he's doing a pretty good job of it.
I don't think there's a more fitting company name for you to be part of, though. Violence and Suffering. I don't
understand how I'm not there yet. But we'll see what the future has in store. There are a couple people who've called me out who want to face me there. It's a mistake on their part, but I understand that you have this desire to be in the ring with someone as great as I am, and those two people have been Kevin Blackwood and Daniel Garcia. I'm not sure how familiar you are with them, but I would love to make those boys suffer. The last time they suffered as much as I would make them suffer was when they were in that car accident, and they're gonna feel that again.
Do you think they're trying to make a name off you? Is that what people do when they see what you can do in the ring? They just think, well, I can make a name off just by being associated with him.
You know, I think I wouldn't say that. I think most people will do that, right? But I think that these two, they just want to be with the best. So I wrestled them once, maybe 2 years ago when I was in a tag team. We had a tag team match, and that's very far back. But we're totally different people now. I've grown, they've grown. And I do want to humble them. For them to think that it's appropriate to call me out, to think that they are on my level, I would love nothing more than to humble those boys and send them back up to where they came from.
Well, just going back to Synergy as well, because obviously you mentioned how low Jordan Oliver is, how low Brandon Kirk is. You did get to compete in a triple threat with Brandon's wife, Casey Catal, and John Silver. What was it like competing with those guys? I mean, was it nice getting to bring them down a peg or two as well?
Absolutely. That was for the qualifier for this cruiserweight crown that Casey now holds. And if it wasn't for that boneheaded referee that was in that match, if it wasn't for Joey Silver, I would have won that. I had that in the bag easily. I will say I did find lots and lots of pleasure hurting Casey Catal. There were a few moments in that match where you can hear my flesh rip her flesh. Right, there was one chop that I gave her that was heard throughout that Synergy promotion, and just I would love that feeling again.
I feel like Casey might have got maybe not as much pleasure as you did, but I know Casey's she's no stranger to violence too in the ring. I feel like she might have got some pleasure from doing the same to you. How does that make you feel?
Listen, if she enjoyed me and I enjoyed her, then I don't see why there's no reason why we can do that again and enjoy each other.
So you're fine with people, like the way you explain it. It's like you said, it's orgasmic for you the way you make people suffer. If people were to make you suffer, Charles, like how does that not anger you?
No, not at all. Not at all, because we all have this inside of us. You have it in you, both of you. You have this inside of you. There is something that is going to make you tick, and something that's going to put you over the edge. And for me, that's poor people.
Right.
All right. For Casey, it could be me. I could be the one that makes her tick. I could be the one that sets her off and puts her over the edge and makes her do things that she doesn't think that she's capable of doing. You know, no one likes us. No one likes the 1%. They blame us for everything. In the middle of this pandemic, you all got poorer and we got richer. And people hate that.
You sound like you're claiming to be the most real man in wrestling. You know, you've got nothing to hide. You're open about your intent to make people suffer and, you know, to rip the life away from them. Do you feel like you are the most real man in wrestling? You're not hiding behind any gimmicks, no characters. You are what you are.
I believe so. I have nothing to hide. There's no reason for me to hide. A lot of people are insecure with who they really are, and they're hiding their true intentions, and they hide behind some type of gimmick, like you said. Mm-hmm. Right? There's no gimmick here. This is pure joy in what I do. When I say that it's euphoric, that it's orgasmic. I don't know if any of you have ever wrestled before, but if you've struck contact with another person and saw the light leave their eyes, it's amazing. It's such a great feeling. And I have an excuse to do this. No one can tell me to stop here. If I did this in the street, if I pulled up to a homeless man and started beating him like I have before, and I got caught, I do prison time, right? I mean, my lawyers would probably get me out of it, but most people go to prison for this. But for someone who owns a company, decides that they're gonna put me in the ring with another human being who happens to be poor, knowing what I will do to them, that's their fault. But it's a chance for me to get my rocks off, and I love every moment of it.
I think I speak for every member of the general public when I say I'm thankful you do it in the ring and you've got a place to take it out on them rather than doing it in the street. So, you know, that would be enough to put me off coming to New Jersey.
Yeah, but I've done my fair share of violence in the streets. But problem is I haven't been caught. So as long as I'm not caught, I can do whatever I want. And if you do ever decide to come to New Jersey, New York, as I'm based in New York, then I hope that you do decide to come and try to shake my hand in the ring.
And I'll give that one a miss, Charles.
And I've just had this thought as well. Obviously, we mentioned going after Jordan. Casey has the cruiserweight title. I mean, I could see you holding both titles at some point in 2021. I mean, I can't think of anything better. That nice flash suit, both belts over your shoulders. Is that a goal?
That is a goal for me. You know, this isn't really about what I do. Isn't about championships, and it's not about titles and milestones. It's really not about that. I think all three of us know that this is about my sick perversions and the desires that I have to inflict pain on the poor. But there's an added bonus to it when I take away something from someone who's worked their whole life to obtain. People like Jordan Oliver and Casey Catal have worked their entire lives to get to where they are, to hold titles, to hold crowns. And if I can take that away, someone who doesn't need this as much as they do, that's just a bonus. And that's the look on their face is going to do it all for me.
What are you going to do when inevitably one day you're going to keep working your way up the independent ladder? You're going to land somewhere like AEW, for example, or a company where there isn't really a shortage of people with money. Is it the same concept there? I mean, is it just because they're poorer than you, or are these still scumbag people that you want to check out? What's the difference there?
There is no difference, because all those people who worked their whole lives to get to where they are, they went through the towns and they sacrificed, and they still come from the same place. They still come from their poor, broken down homes, and it just so happens that they got out of it. And just because they have a little bit of money in their bank account doesn't mean that they're not still the same people they were born.
Poor mentality.
It's a poor mentality, and once you're poor, you'll always be poor. You don't acquire a lump sum of cash and you're now wealthy. There's a difference between riches and wealth.
Whereas you were born rich.
I was born. This is a lifestyle that I've always known.
So, I mean, Callum mentioned AEW. I mean, what is the goal for Charles Mason? Is it wrestling domination?
That's exactly what it is. People have asked me this question before. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go to AEW? Do you want to go to WWE? That I really have no set destination as far as where I want to go. I want to be somewhere where I can inflict pain as much as possible, where I can bring suffering as much as possible, where I can travel and my message can be spread across the world, whether that be through, right now we're in the middle of a pandemic, and unfortunately I can't fly overseas to show people what I can do. But if a company wants to put me on 4 million TVs so that kids at home can be afraid of me and understand that there's a man out there who hates them just because they were born into poverty, that's the goal.
Well, don't get us wrong, Charles. We know exactly why you agreed to do this interview. It's not that it's out of the kindness of your heart. It's that you can reach even just a handful of people that haven't heard about your message. You just want to let them know who Charles Mason is and what it's all about. This wasn't a kind gesture. You just wanted to get your message of violence out there, right?
Yeah, I'm glad that there's no smoke and mirrors here, and that you understand.
Yeah, we know. We appreciate it, but we know.
Yeah. I don't need money. I don't need anything from you. But what I do need is this platform that you guys have overseas, and this is the teaser trailer. This is the introduction to Charles Mason for the fans that you have, that when I do arrive, they know, and that there's fear in their hearts, and that they're aware of what I can do, and they're trusting at my feet.
It's safe to say the UK scene is in your sights as well. Then you want to come and teach us a lesson.
100%.
Well, there's no shortage of poor people here for you, Charles.
Trust me, I know. I'm talking to two people who I can tell by as soon as you opened your mouths that you can barely pay your rent.
Well, from the worst city in the UK twice in a row, you'd literally make a killing here.
Yeah.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong. And yeah, we do struggle to pay our rent. It's I guess it's our honour speaking to you. Then really, I mean, you've done us a favour.
Absolutely. The pleasure is all yours.
It certainly is. One last thing before you go, though, before we start to wrap up, 'cause I know we've taken up your incredibly valuable time.
I have some videos to shoot today, so please wrap it up.
We spoke about Amazing Red earlier. One final question. You actually got to face him. What was that like for you?
All right. So, House of Glory in itself has been kind of out of action for all of 2020. There a very large purchase made by Master P, and there was a rebranding that was going to occur. And the pandemic kind of put a halt to that, right? But just before that happened, we had our final show where I defended the House of Glory 6-way title. 4 guys and 1 mystery opponent. And this could have been anyone, right? But it was Amazing Red. It was my trainer. It was the man who taught me all I know. A man that 6 months prior retired. A man that 6 months prior, when he decided he was going to come back, said that he wasn't going to come back to House of Glory. But then he said that he could, and that he was physically ready to come back. And he could have gone after anyone. He could have went after the Crown Jewel title. He could have asked for any competitor in the world, and they would have came and fought him. But he came for me, right? He came for me. And he didn't come one-on-one. He's a coward. He came after me in the middle of a 6-way match in which he had help. And he knew that those 4 other guys hated my guts. All right? Now, for him to win that match and take that title from me, I was livid. I'm still angry to this day. It's been 13 months that I've waited to put my hands around the throat of Amazing Red. It's been 13 months since I've waited to drop him on his neck so that his son and his daughter can see that all these years that he decided to choose wrestling over them, this is what it ended up being. His career will be over the next time that I lay my hands on him. And I promise you, and if Amazing Red, if you hear this, we're not on speaking terms anymore. I don't train with you. I have nothing to do with you. But if you're hearing this, just know the next time that I see you, no matter where it is, I'm ending your life.
And I don't think there's a better note to end on the interview there, really. So yeah, Charles, thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.